Sports all plays. Yeah. All sports all plays. All sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. We talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports all plays.
What's up? Welcome back to another episode of Loose Lugs on the ASAP Network. I'm your host, Chris Osborne. He's your host, Dustin Lewis. Glad to have you with us this week. Hey, did not have you last week. We had some good racing today, huh? Monday race. It's always
absolutely. Oh yeah, definitely. When I was watching the race yesterday, and when I saw it was getting postponed till Monday, I was like, "Oh, well, that's going to be interesting, especially when we do the show on Monday."
Yeah. If it had been rain delayed today, I think we would have been, worried about starting the show a little later because it probably would have ran into the show.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good race. Congrats to Chase Elliott. He definitely earned that one. They made a few subtle adjustments, it seemed like, throughout the day to stay ahead of the game. Some of these guys were, making adjustments the wrong way, and they were paying for it. I think that's what happened to Kyle Larson. He had that spin, but I think they loosened him up too much, and he lost it.
Yep.
I would like to talk about first. We'll start with some drama-ish with, and it wasn't a huge fight, anything like that, but the Truex Jr. Finished there with Ross Chastain. We were just talking about this before the show started, and I think we agree that it's a racing incident. I'll lean more towards the unnecessary side. Chastain didn't wreck Truex Jr. He blocked him, and Truex did not. It seemed like he got arrow tight, and then it went arrow loose real quick when the disturbance hit, because he came up behind, and as soon as Chastain got in front, it took the nose, completely lost air, and I mean he went up, and I think he tried to keep it off the wall, and came down. But I feel like that was an unnecessary move by Chastain. I think he still would have finished third and Truex fourth if he gave him the space up there to run his line. Where are you at? What did you see? What do you feel about it?
Well, it's like I had said to you before the show. Dover is a track where if you're going to run the bottom, you have to really use every single bit of the track to get up to that wall. Because when you try to hold that, because you got a car on your outside and you try to hold the car on the bottom, the car is going to, it's not going to work. The car is going to be like, no. You have to come up the racetrack. You got to get next to that wall. You saw it with Chastain and Elliott. Elliott would come up the racetrack and they would be that close to each other, and Chastain would get loose coming on that high side. So if I'm Chastain and I see the 19, because the 19 was high on the racetrack and he cut it down right as they come out of the corner to get some speed. Chastain's coming up the racetrack. Spotters probably telling him, hey, the 19's coming. You probably need to give him some space. And then probably thought he was giving him space, and the 19 got right on his back bumper. Like you said, that probably took the air off the nose, got that car just a little bit loose, and as soon as he went to catch it, it went around on him. It's a racing incident. I mean, I don't blame Chastain. I don't think he was doing it just because that 19's faster than me. I'm just going to wreck him. No, I think he did it. I think he was coming up the racetrack to use every bit of the track to catch the car because it was probably getting tight. Like you said, because that car is coming up on him, probably taking the wind off the spoiler. I hate it for Truex because he did have a good car, but it's a racing incident. I mean, it's very, very. It's definitely a racing incident. I don't see issues with it. If you say Truex should be angry, I get it. I mean, he had a really good car, had a chance to get a top 3 finish, saw the opportunity, went for it, and it bit him. I mean, that's racing. You making a hockey reference here. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and he took his shot and it bit him. I mean, what else can you do?
Totally, I totally agree. I don't think it's near the move that we saw with Chase Briscoe at the Bristol Dirt Race. Nothing like that. But I just think it was a bit on the unnecessary side of. I mean, it's not like he gave him room. He definitely had the complete intent of taking every bit of run that he had. He was going to move up in front of him. And there's no way that the spotter said, hey, you're clear, you can go all the way to the wall. That didn't happen. No spotter is going to say that on the last lap of the race, knowing Truex is going to get a run. So he definitely took it upon himself to say, all right, well, I'm going to go up the wall. And if I get into Truex, I get into him. Hopefully I just break his run and, I keep the position. And at the same time, when you make a move like that, your intent is not to wreck them. Your intent is to keep them behind you. What happens is it's called racing. That is racing. I just think if he would have given him space, he still would have, held the third position, and Truex would have finished fourth. Now, by doing so, Alex Bowman ended up in the fifth position, giving Hendrick another duo in the top 5 this year, which I think is the 7th race, if I count correctly. The 7th race, at least 2 Hendrick drivers have finished in the top 5. That is pretty crazy. 7 of 11 races.
Pretty good.
It is pretty good. And it wins. You look at wins. That's now their. Oh, the mic came off. Their 5th win this year, because everybody has 1, and then William Byron now has 2 with the win a few weeks ago.
2. Yeah, it's 2, 1. Yeah, it's 5 wins. 5 wins.
5 wins out of 11 races.
It's gonna be half.
Yep. And you look at Joe Gibbs. How many wins do they have? All of 2.
Yep, 2.
Penske, 1.
1.
And that was the Daytona 500 with Austin Cindric. Stewart Haas, 1. It was Chase Briscoe.
Yeah, there's Chase Briscoe.
RFK,
0.
0. They do have 2 poles this year.
They do, but
those do not count in the win column.
No, they count as good job. You qualified well.
Yeah. Let's see, how many wins does the other big groups have? Trackhouse has 2. They're kind of a big group now. I'm really shocked that Tyler Reddick or Austin Dillon have not won a race yet. Sorry, my allergies are killing me.
You're fine. That's shocking to me too, because Reddick has run really, really well all season. I mean, we've been saying since the 500. I mean, if he doesn't get a win this year, something's wrong. And the fact that he hasn't won yet it's starting to worry me a little bit. Like, is he gonna win this year? He's in a good car. He's put himself in position to win races. It's not happened for him.
He's going to get a win. It's going to happen. Even if it's in the playoffs, it might be. He's going to get a win. I think Austin Dillon gets a win too. Those guys are, both of them are running well. They're not slow. They're not, lucking their way into good finishes or running, well because of pit strategy. They drive through the field. Austin Dillon at the short tracks this year has been really good. Tyler Reddick has been good at almost everywhere. Just doesn't have the finishes to show for it. I mean, today he wrecked twice, I believe.
Yes.
I know he spun at least once, and then he had the kudos to him, too, for calling that he had a flat tire coming. Got on pit road as it came apart, and that's pretty rare that he has the time and the awareness to feel it coming apart before it actually comes apart.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's been plenty of times where I'm pretty sure they knew the tire was coming apart, and they're like, well, maybe it won't blow yet, and then it just kaboom. So for him to be like, hey, it's coming apart, I'm coming on pit road, and then it goes off, that's a good awareness for him. 5 awareness for him. Good job.
I feel like sometimes they stay out because they know if they pit, they'll lose a lap, but if they stay out and they are the caution,
then
I don't know what happened. The tire came apart.
But yeah.
It was a good race. It was really I said last week, this would be the race that we see how well the car handles, what the car gives us, because this is a tough track. It's tough on tires. It's tough on the drivers, the crew chiefs. This is the hardest track we go to. And you can say, oh, Richmond's hard, Martinsville's hard. This is a different kind of hard.
Yeah.
This is the highest amount of G-forces through a turn at any track, period. This is the biggest transition from a straightaway that's 9-degree banking to a corner that I believe they said was 29 or 30 something degrees. It's a pretty big banking. And back out to a 9-degree front and back stretch. It's hard on chassis. It's hard on everything. It mentally can wear on you. And to top it off, we split this race into 2 days. So these guys raced, 78 laps yesterday, went to sleep, digesting whatever happened to them in the first 78, woke up today and where they would usually be sitting at home, drinking a vodka martini or whatever and getting ready for next week, they're racing still. So this track was, to me, putting the stamp on the next gen car.
Yeah.
Going forward, we've got Darlington coming up, which, we're going to talk about. Darlington is a fun track to watch if you are a true racing of all kinds junkie. It is, for those of you that don't know Darlington, it's an egg. It's an egg-shaped track. You have one turn that you can basically almost go full throttle. You can let off, get in, and then ease your way back in and motor off. And then you have, that's 1 and 2. 3 and 4, you got to get out. You got to get on the brake because that is a very sharp turn. Meanwhile, you've got all of this racetrack. It's one of the wider tracks that we race on, yet the racing surface is of the smallest because they bank it. What do you think? 60 feet wide?
It's just wide enough for 2 cars.
2 cars. You cannot go 3 wide in any of these turns.
If we see 3 wide at Darlington next week, I don't know what I'm going to do. There's no way it's going to work. There's no way.
No.
It doesn't work in video games. So if it don't work in a video game, it surely ain't going to work in real life.
Right. And this is also not a track where you ride the bottom all the way around. No. These guys get in on the bottom. They let the car drift up to the wall where they're catching momentum and gas it off. And 2 wide is almost impossible at this place.
Yep.
Because you need every bit of racetrack to run a really fast lap. So it's going to be good. We're going to go over picks. I want to stay with the parlay stuff that we're doing. Picking who's going to finish best of each group because that seems to work out the best for us. I did pick Chase Elliott this week, but I feel like I lucked into that one because I think the best car today was Denny Hamlin or Kyle Busch. I think they had better cars, but Chase did get the win, so I'm going to take that one. It'll be on the wall behind me up here, a little checkered flag like they put on the cars. So let's kick it off. Darlington, give me your best finishing driver in the Joe Gibbs group.
For the Joe Gibbs group, I'm probably going to say Denny Hamlin. I like the way Truex ran this race. He was very fast, and he has proven to be pretty consistent all year. Kyle Busch has just been. I mean, he got Bristol dirt, but that was a win. He just kind of was in the right place at the right time for. The top 2 wrecked each other. Christopher Bell. I mean, what's he doing?
He's in the cursed 20.
Yes.
Eric Jones has been there. Daniel Suarez has been there. Joey Logano has been there. And those are 3 really, I'd consider 3 of the most talented drivers in NASCAR. You see what Eric Jones is doing with Petty GMS.
Mm-hmm.
He's a driver. And after this year, I think he has a shot to land at a bigger team like Stewart-Haas Racing. I think he might be the guy in line to take Eric Almirola's seat if I'm, just throwing a name out there. But you look at those guys, they've all sat in the 20 seat and all have been right where Christopher Bell is. They've pushed for an eventual win. They've not been consistent. They show speed, but they don't get finishes to back it up. That has been like a staple point. Even Matt Kenseth, as good as he was, he kind of fell in that little limbo.
Mm-hmm.
It's whatever happens to that team. I don't know if it's because of the other three drivers. You got Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex. Those guys are screaming for equipment. And before Truex, you had Kyle Busch, you had oh man, Carl Edwards, couldn't think of his name, and Denny Hamlin, who was screaming for equipment. So I don't know if it's an equipment issue or what, but that 20 car struggles to be a championship contender.
Yeah, and I mean he did finish really good today. He finished fourth today. I mean
Right.
that's really really good. But think about it like this. Think about it from how I see it, from a momentum standpoint. Truex, had he not spun, he would have finished fourth, no doubt.
Yeah.
He would have finished ahead of Christopher Bell. He had a very good car today, and I think they're going to come back loaded for bear for Darlington. I think Truex, for Truex, this is probably his best chance to, does he even have a win this year? I don't think he does. No, he doesn't.
No.
But at the same time, the 11 car, like you said, was probably one of the best cars today.
Yeah.
And had his wheel not come off, and then had he not got hit by Cody Ware, which was, I mean, I thought he would get through, and then boom, and it rips the whole chunk out of the. I was like, no, yep, his day's done. That's not getting fixed. But I'm
I
thinking
would
that
love to
11
know
car.
if Cody Ware blew a tire, if he just got loose. To me, it seemed like he just got loose, but I don't know.
I think he just got loose. It's the same thing that happened with Larson coming off of 4. He just got loose. And I mean, I'm quite talking about Larson, just going on a little tangent. Beautiful job keeping that car off the wall.
Yeah.
Beautiful job.
Most people cream the inside wall on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking, oh, there it goes. He's going to hit the wall. He's going to hit the wall. He didn't hit the wall. He's fine. We're good. 5 cars still in this race. But
All
for
right, so
Joe Gibbs, Darlington, I'm going 11 car. I'm going Denny Hamlin.
I'm going to be different because it's who I am. I'm going to go Martin Truex Jr. on this one, and that's because he does run well there. So does Hamlin. I mean, these guys have always run well at Darlington, but Denny has a win. Truex needs a win. This is his final season. The announcement's coming any day. I don't know why they haven't said it yet. I guess they're hoping that he changes his mind, but I feel in my heart this is it for Martin Truex. This was his last race at Dover. This is going to be his last race. And the throwback race, I mean, there's another Darlington race coming up, but it's his last throwback race.
Yep.
I think he gets the win. I think that this is one that he won't pass up. It's one of his favorite tracks. It's one of his best tracks. I think he gets the win. Let's move on to Penske. Who do you have best finisher Penske-wise?
Oh, man. Well, Cindric hasn't done much since Daytona.
Right.
Blaney has just been nowhere. Penske has not done well this year at all. Cindric has 1 win, and his teammates don't have wins. They have. Whew.
Just look at the finishes and keep in mind, the Fords have not run well. The highest finishing Ford was Chris Buescher in 8th. They did not run well, but the highest finishing, I mean, in the entire race, highest finishing Penske was 26th, Ryan Blaney, a lap down.
A lap down.
Joey Logano was 3 laps down in 29th. And then 36th, Austin Cindric, he was out early.
Dead last.
Which brings up another point that we'll hit real quick. Now, do your pick, and then we'll come back to it.
I'm going to say I might have to say Ryan Blaney. I mean, Logano has done well at Darlington, And but I haven't seen the performance like at all from him. I just I cannot put my money on Logano to be the best on that team. I can't do it. I mean, I know Blaney's young. I know I can't remember exactly how he's performed at Darlington off the top of my head, but Logano is a championship winning driver. He's, let's just say, the number one car for Penske, and he's not done well this season. I don't like picking him, so Blaney will be my pick for Penske.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Blaney too because I can't. I have no confidence in this team. Period. But if I have to pick one, I think it might end up being Logano. I will say that. But I think Blaney will be the only one to finish in the top 10. I'll say that.
Yeah.
This has not been a good campaign for Ford. It wasn't last year. I don't know what's going on with the Ford camp. I don't know if the numbers just aren't there and they're struggling to share notes. Maybe it doesn't matter about the numbers. Maybe the problem is they're not sharing notes the way they should. I mean, if you were to, take a gander into Chevy's haulers, I bet you would see a notebook from each team saying, "This is what we're doing. Try this." And it might not be a setup. It might be an engineering note, or it might be something that says, this is what we're doing with our chassis. Something. Those guys are definitely working together, and they have the numbers. They're the overwhelming numbers. So all they have to do is share a little, and they're ahead. But for the Toyotas to be out racing the Fords right now, when there are only 6 Toyotas, tells me it's a Ford problem, not a numbers problem.
No.
So they have work to do, and I don't know how to fix it. I feel bad for Penske. I think Penske made a mistake by not offering Brad Keselowski ownership like he was offered at Roush. I mean, I would have to think at this point, the highest finishing Ford in this race was an RFK Ford, and he also won the pole. So how much of the greatness of Penske did Brad take with him?
Yeah, that's if you're any NASCAR fan, that's a question that should be in the back of your mind right now, because RFK going into this season, we were like, this is going to be a rebuilding period for them. They might challenge for a win every so often. They might get a pole, and that's all we're going to see from them. Penske's going to be the powerhouse. And at Daytona, we were right.
Yeah.
Penske won.
Yeah.
But ever since then, it has just been a downhill spell for them. That's why picking somebody for them was so difficult, because I'm like, none of them have shown me that they can challenge for a top 10 or a top 5 or even a win. They just haven't done it.
Well, just something to, toss at the fire, if you will. Of the Ford winners this year, I mean, you look, there are 2, and it's the brand new rookie for Penske and the second-year standout for Stewart-Haas. No veterans have won a race for Ford. I mean, 0. And that strikes me as strange that the young guys like Austin Cindric, he had a good car. He was in the right spot at the right time. Congrats on the Daytona 500. It's not like they absolutely killed it from top to bottom at Penske. Blaney had a great car. Logano had a decent car, but nothing crazy. None of the other Fords really looked the part. And then the other race they won this year at Phoenix, I mean, Chase Briscoe just had a miracle car. I mean, he was able to run almost full throttle through 1 and 2, or through 3 and 4. I'm sorry, and that's insane to me. I mean, that's how he was able to pull away and on the restart. Was he basically ran at full throttle and prayed?
Pretty
So
much.
the other races this year, you look at Chevy, Toyota, Chevy, Toyota, Chevy. It's been Chevy. And so moving on to the next group, I would say let's pick a winner. Um, let's go Chevy. Let's go Hendrick. Who's the highest finishing Hendrick at Darlington?
Oof. Well, seeing as how now all the Hendrick drivers have got their wins, so Larson showed some decent speed here, and I think had he not spun, he probably would have finished a lot better than he did. He still had a really good comeback drive, but still. Byron, ever since he got his 2 wins, he didn't finish really good here. He finished 22nd.
He didn't
And I don't
run
think
well here.
I don't know his history with Darlington. Bowman, this might be a race Bowman goes for a win. But then again, Larson, I mean, most talented guy on that team is Larson. Oof. See, this is the exact opposite of Penske. All the Hendrick drivers have run really well all season, so choosing one of them, it's like, I want to choose this guy, but this guy has 2 wins, but this guy's a champion, but this guy's the most popular. It's just, it's so hard to pick, but I think I'm going to go 48.
Okay.
I think I'm going to go Bowman.
Best of luck. I'm going to go with Chase Elliott going back to back.
Okay. I like that. I like
He's
that.
He's on a momentum swing, and I like it.
Mm-hmm.
This win will definitely probably. This is where he cashes in on a good stretch where he gets a win. He finishes top 5 consecutively for a few races and probably gets another win. We're not too far away from hitting a few road courses. Just looking at the schedule: Darlington, Kansas. You got the All-Star race, then Charlotte, and then we go to what I would consider a great stretch for Chase. You've got Worldwide, which is Gateway, is what it's actually used to be called. Then you hit Sonoma. Nashville's a track that anybody can go to. The Cup guys have raced there, sparingly in the Xfinity Series. But Road America, Atlanta, New Hampshire, Pocono, then another road course at Indy, and then Watkins Glen 3 weeks later. We're getting into Chase country.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get a few more wins, and you're going to see a separation because this time last year is when Kyle Larson took over. This is when he hit the gas, started reeling off win after win. You're going to see if it's going to be William Byron, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson for Hendrick, or if somebody else steps up huge and takes over. But I think this is that stretch where you see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Something to also point out, MRN, I can't remember who does the commentary for MRN on the radio, but after Chase had crossed the finish line, they said if anyone was wondering if Chase Elliott was a 1-horse pony for road courses, he proved it wrong today. He won it. He won at Dover.
It was his first oval win since he won the title at Phoenix. Yeah,
Lord,
yeah.
That's hard to. That is crazy to think about.
Well, as much as he had a slump last year, I mean, he still ran for a championship last year.
Mm-hmm.
He's a driver that peaks at the right times. And, we could be talking about Chase Elliott going for a 3rd title right now. He could have stole it right from under Kyle Larson.
Mm-hmm.
So before you guys fall asleep on, good old Chase from Dawsonville, don't forget he can drive.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Give me somebody from Stewart Haas. This one should be easy.
Stewart Haas. Oh, boy. And this one should be easy?
It should, because the record book says this is a veteran track.
Well, seeing as how the veteran finished 9th today, I will go with Harvick for this. I know. No, he has not done well this season. He does not have the momentum. He's probably on the way out soon.
Mm-hmm.
This, like Chris has said, this is a veteran racetrack. It is one of the oldest tracks NASCAR goes to. It's a hard track to get around. If you have a good car through 1 and 2, it's going to suck in 3 and 4. If you got a good car in 3 and 4, it'll suck in 1 and 2. I think Kevin Harvick's going to do really well here. This is going to be the track where you see him say, I might be old, y'all, but I can still wheel the race car around better than most.
I totally agree with you. I go Kevin Harvick all the way. I actually think he might be a dark horse to win this race.
Mm-hmm.
He's always run well at Darlington. They are in desperate need of a win. With the new winners piling up, every new winner replaces a non-winner in the playoff grid.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
if Harvick pulls a Harvick 2021, Harvick doesn't make the playoffs. I firmly believe we're going to get 16 winners this year.
Wow. You think that many?
Firmly. Huh?
You think that many?
Yep. I think we land right on 16. We've always had about 14. 13 has been the average, 12 to 13, but 14 a couple times. This many different winners this early in the year. I mean, some of these tracks are going to produce winners, like first-time winners maybe. You've got Daytona, which is a complete wild card to start where the playoff ends or the season ends, the playoffs begin.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got some Nashville. Nobody knows who's going to win at Nashville. Worldwide technology. Nobody knows. Gateway used to be an Xfinity regular. I mean, that was a great track to race back then.
Yep.
It's a very smooth track. It's fun. I mean, it's a cookie cutter track that these guys have always used for testing on all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you can probably put down 2 more first-time winners this year at least on just those 2 tracks. And we're sitting at 8 right now. We have 9. Yeah,
9 different
9 winners.
winners.
That's 11. So somewhere in all those other races, only 5 more new winners in all those races. I think it's highly possible. And the guys that I think will get that, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex Jr., Tyler Reddick, Joey Logano is going to come around and snag one somewhere. It's going to happen. And Daniel Suarez. Those 5 guys, I think, all have a win before we get to Daytona.
I can see that. I can see that with a lot of them because, I mean, Reddick, he's been fast all season long. It's only a matter of time before he gets one. Truex has really done well the past few weeks when it comes to his pace. Harvick, I'm going to be just completely honest with you. This is probably Harvick's, realistically, Darlington might be his last chance to really challenge for a win.
Yeah,
he hasn't done well at any of the other races. He finished 9th here at Dover. But I mean,
looking at the schedule, Darlington's a good race for him. Kansas has been pretty decent. Texas, you won't get a Texas regular season race because it's the All-Star race. Coke 600 is anybody's race. I would put him as one of the favorites at Gateway because he has some experience there from the old days.
yeah.
Road course, Nashville. Road course, Atlanta.
Atlanta would
New
probably.
Hampshire. Maybe Pocono. He's really good at Pocono.
Yeah, that's true. He is pretty decent at Pocono. But then again, we haven't been to Pocono with this new car. So it might catch him out just a little bit.
Right.
The only other track I could really see him do, really, really good, other than Darlington, would probably be Atlanta. And that's because Atlanta for him
That's been amazing.
Yes, exactly. It's been amazing for him. And, Atlanta, I don't think we're going to be using. Are we going to be using the Super Speedway package when we go to Atlanta next?
Yes.
Oh, well, shoot.
As far as I know, Atlanta gets both races this year, Super Speedway package.
If it was the 670, I would probably say Harvick might do really, really well. But if it's a Super Speedway, that might be a different story.
Right. And I miss the wide open, if you play the simulation games like, NASCAR Ignition or whatever, you are full throttle the entire track. The only thing you really have to do is just make sure you get into the turn well and you drive off. It's even easier for these guys if they got the right setup. They use the draft.
Yep.
It's basically Daytona Talladega with, a sharper turn and less track to worry about. And the big one, if the big one happens, there's absolutely nowhere to go. Daytona, you can kind of use the underbank and all that doesn't happen in Atlanta. If you are in the big one, Atlanta, you're in it.
You're in it.
But okay, so I think we've covered the big teams: Hendrick, Stewart-Haas, Penske, Joe Gibbs. Give me an underdog. Give me 2 drivers that you think are going to perform much better than where they are in the point standings right now.
Okay. Let me see. That's a good question. Had Ross Chastain not have 2 wins, I probably would have said him. But he's got 2 wins, and he's doing really good in the playoff standings, so I can't choose him. Or I don't want to choose him. That'd be a cop-out answer.
You want me to go first, so you got some ideas of who you might?
You go first.
Okay. I'm going to go Cole Custer, just because I think this is a track that kind of suits his smooth driving style. And I'm going to throw Corey LaJoie in there. And I'm not picking these guys to win. I'm just saying, compared to where they are in the point standings, they're going to run much better than where they are suggested as being a finisher. I think you would project those guys, both outside the top 15 for sure. I would say in the 20s for LaJoie. I think he's got a chance at the top 15 here. They've got a little bit of momentum. They were running really well at Talladega before they finished the start-finish line sideways. And they finished, 18th today, I believe? 18th? Yeah, 18th. So, I mean, a little bit of momentum. 18th is a good finish for that small of a team.
Definitely.
So, I'm picking those 2 guys. Who you got?
All right. I'm going to say, seeing as how he, finished second, I'm going to pick Ricky Stenhouse to do really good at Darlington. Now, I know Darlington and Dover are 2 completely different tracks, but they are 2 of the toughest tracks we go to. Darlington, because of how different the track is on either end and how skinny it is, and Dover just because it's a concrete mile that is terrible on the car and yourself. Stenhouse finished second today, did really, really good. I think he does a lot better than where he is in the points. He's sitting 27th right now. Now, this next pick, I think Bubba Wallace might do pretty good at Darlington. Yeah, I know. He's done pretty good all season long. Now, I don't think he finished very good here at Dover, if I remember correctly.
Bubba, no, I think he was around 20th, somewhere in there.
No, he finished 16th.
Yeah.
I think this might be a track
he was
he does
running
pretty good
for, top 12 for a little while, and I think his car fell off, but he didn't have a terrible run.
No, he was 16th. That's not too bad. That's all right. You're doing all right for the second Joe Gibbs team. You're not doing too bad. He finished better than his teammate did.
Yeah. Kurt had a rough day.
Very rough day. But yeah, that's my 2 picks. Stenhouse Jr. and Bubba Wallace.
Okay.
For my underdogs.
I like it. Let's see. I like it. I'll go with those. I think we made some good picks. I'm happy with that. Just to go back on what I was hinting and that we would talk about during the picks. If you guys notice, there was 36 drivers entered for the race today. 0 cars that did not have a charter bothered showing up. And I think that's going to be more of a normal. And it's not because they can't afford it. Dover is a hard place. And if you're short on funding, Dover's not the place for you. Um, you can kind of reside yourself to finishing at the back, and you're basically just spinning your wheels going to a place like Dover, putting up the money to get in with all the work and everything, and you might break even. But do you want to wrecking a race car to break even? Absolutely not.
That's a good point.
Darlington's going to be about the same to me. I think you still see 36 cars. It's a hard racetrack. Things tend to happen out of your control there. And it might be easier to get sponsors for a place like that. So I might be wrong. I just don't think that we're going to see a full 40 car field at Darlington either. And, NASCAR can't up the amount of charters. I get that. They want 36. So there are 4 spots available to qualify in on. But leaving those 4 spots open has crippled some teams because the inability to buy a charter means they're footing the bill with the opportunity to maybe not even make the race. They're paying all the employees. They're paying the gas to get the car there. They're paying for all this and that. And, there's no guarantee that you're going to make the start. And you qualify 41st. Well, 20 years ago, you made the race when they ran 43 cars, but now they do 40. So I think that's something that NASCAR should really look at. And I know that the draw is that these charters are worth more money because they guarantee you a spot in. But what if you had a system where everyone could start that showed up, but only the top 40 earn points? So say you start the race and you finish 41st, you get no points. Or if you have a charter, you're guaranteed at least a point. So, okay, so 44 cars show up. There are 36 charters. Because you have a charter, you are guaranteed to not only start the race, but get points. If you do not have a charter, you're basically not running for a championship. How about that? So you're showing up to make money towards, future races. That might be a working angle because some of these small teams, they can't afford to risk losing a car or 2 cars in a weekend where they're not guaranteed to make the race. I mean, that's bad math. That's bad business. So maybe something can be tweaked because you're going to hear it soon. JR Motorsports is working on getting a charter. 2, actually. And I think the destination for them to buy is Spire. I've said it, in a few groups, and it seems to make the most sense because the guys that they have driving for them, Corey LaJoie, may be a good driver, but it's an underfunded team. And whoever is driving the 77 on any given week, I mean, they switch them out quite a bit. Those 2 cars, if the Spire group wanted to sell, they would make anywhere from $20 to $40 million on the charters. I mean, they said the going rate right now is about 15 million. Well, that was last year. This year it could be up to 20 mil. And I think, JR Motorsports would have the financial backing to buy those. I don't think that's a problem. The interesting thing is going to be, because they move up to Cup, they would no longer have an alliance with, Hendrick Motorsports. They would have to be on their own. And so that is a bit of a drawback, I'm sure, to Kelly and Dale Jr., but I think it's something they want to do. And, if I'm just spitballing, 2 drivers to start this team, you've got Noah Gragson in 1 car. And I think you split the other car with Josh Berry and maybe a guy like AJ Allmendinger when he's not driving the College cars. And that would be a decent starting point for JR Motorsports. They buy the 2 charters from Spire. They put Gragson in 1 car and see how it goes with the other. And eventually that car could be Josh Berry's or Sam Mayer's. I think Justin Allgaier has had plenty of opportunities to show he's a Cup driver, and he's not. It didn't work out.
Yeah.
So, but they have capable drivers. I think this is the only move for them. They were supposed to be kind of a developmental team for Hendrick Motorsports. or they're in the same boat as Gibbs. They don't need to develop drivers. They have 4 young drivers at Hendrick that are
Mhm.
not going anywhere. You'd be insane at this point to give up your ride to join a different team and leave Hendrick. They are the kings right now.
Mhm.
So there's no longer a need for a developmental only team in the Xfinity series. So I see it coming. I see JR Motorsports, maybe even Rick Ware Racing. Rick's losing a lot of money, with Cody driving that car.
It's not a secret by any means.
No, so maybe maybe he sticks to what he's been doing over in Indy, and they have success over there. And he says, my NASCAR run was good, but here's the keys, enjoy. But I think Spire Motorsports is the more likely landing spot for the charters to be sold. They're not doing great. Corey LaJoy, once in a blue moon, he'll get a good finish.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not championship contenders. They're not killing it in the PR department. They're not getting sponsors left and right. They're a great, hardworking group of guys that, they just didn't catch the break like some of these, like Trackhouse. They didn't catch that break.
No.
So maybe it's time for a change for them.
Maybe so. I like the idea of Junior Motorsports coming to the Cup Series. I think a lot of people would like to see that, to see Junior back at the top level, not as a driver, but as an owner. I mean, they've dominated the Xfinity Series for God knows how long, and coming to the Cup Series is the next logical step if they want to, grow as a team, grow as a brand. So I like the idea, and I think Spire would be a team that they would see, be the one that they would, buy out or merge with to get that Cup Series charter.
Maybe Corey LaJoy is a candidate to drive one of the cars the first year. He's not a bad driver at all. He just doesn't have the support that the big teams have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He might be the if Gregson's in one car, he might be in the other car.
Right.
I mean, Gregson has raced in the Cup Series off and on, but Corey LaJoy has been with Spire for a while now, so he has more experience. So that gives him the more veteran status on the team.
And I hope that Hendrick sells the 88 number to him, and we see the 88 back in NASCAR. I miss seeing the 88.
That would be incredible. I would love to see the 88 back on the grid again.
Yep, definitely so. I think we've hit everything, man. You got anything else you want to add today?
Not today. We had a good race today. I hate the fact that it was, split into 2 days, but man, that's racing. That's what happens. It was a good race today. Had a lot. Really showed the strength of the next gen car, and I think Darlington's gonna be like, yeah, you like Dover. Well, you're really gonna like this one.
Yeah, I was impressed that they could, race side by side, and there wasn't the side draft or side force issues. They did good.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that's it. That's all for me for today.
Oh, me too. I'm happy. It was a good race. I have to be biased, but congratulations to Chase Elliott, even though his shirt is hanging on my wall right over there. You got to be biased, though. I'll take that. But anyway, I'm glad you guys joined us today for another episode of Loose Lugs. Check out all the shows on the ASAP Network. We've got tons of shows. There's a show for everything: basketball, football. They're still doing NFL draft stuff. There's hockey. There's boxing. There's MMA. Check it all out. Like and subscribe. That's the big thing, is we need you guys to start, subscribing, following. So when we do go live, you guys get the instant notification, and we can get you guys in here and start getting some more comments, because you guys are lurking, and I don't mind a lurker, but that's illegal in like 12 states. If I find you in the bushes, I'm going to get you. But anyway, hope you guys have a good week. We will see you guys here on next Monday, 5 Eastern, 4 Central, for another episode of Loose Lugs. Have a good one. Take it easy.
All sports, all plays. Yeah. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a place. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays. They work your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.